Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Today is day 6 of the 12 days of whiskey. We're halfway there. And today I want to talk about store pick season. I'm going to do a little Seinfeld impression, not impression because I don't sound like him, but what's the deal with store picks? Give me one of those. What is the deal with store picks? What are store picks? Why are they important? Why do people go crazy for them? I'm here to kind of explain a little bit of that and tell you some of my favorite ones, including our very own Chicago Sports Bums Bourbon Bums store picks in conjunction with Greene Valley Wine and Spirits in Bolingbrook, Illinois. So to start off with, what really is a store pick? What is a barrel pick? So that is a specific brand or barrel of bourbon that the distillery and their distributors are able to sell to a liquor store, a restaurant, a whiskey club. There's a variety of ways you can go about it, but typically, in layman's terms, a group of people can buy a barrel in conjunction with a restaurant. I know here locally in Chicago, the first store pick I had ever tasted was from Big Star, a restaurant in Chicago that has a whiskey selection. And they had a Weller 107 store pick or, single barrel that I had a long time ago. It was Head Bum in Charge's bottle. And that thing was lights out. And that was really the first time I'm like, whoa, why is this different? How is this different? I think it's an easy way for liquor stores to offer something more exclusive to their regular customers or something more exclusive to those real whiskey aficionados that have tried everything on the shelf and are looking for something a little more different, a little more unique. The other thing is it's a real cool way for like whiskey clubs or us as the Chicago Sports Bums to, promote our love of whiskey while sharing something unique to our listeners, viewers. We do the Whiskey at Comiskey tailgate. So we bring all of our store picks to the tailgates at White Sox games, share them with people, and then obviously, hopefully try to sell them so that our listeners can buy them. But yeah, I think, in the Chicagoland, I'm going to be talking specific to the Chicagoland area because that's where I am, and that's where I get a lot of my picks from. There's a lot of really cool people and really great people doing some special things with store picks. So the first one I want to talk about is obviously the big box guys, the big name brands like Binny's Beverage Depot. They have shelves of store picks and single barrels that they're available. They can get anything they want. So I was able to get this for my birthday from, once again, Head Bum in Charge. That Weller store pick was a gift, and I thank you for that. So Binny's, the big box brands, they have a lot of things that other people aren't able to get. The next one that I want to shout out to is obviously your local your local grocery store. Here I shop at my local The Jewels in the Chicagoland area. Jewel, shout out Ken Krunchek, whoever that wild mother effer is. He picks all of the Jewel barrels, and I was able to get a couple of these Buffalo Trace minis, and these were really good. This was a single barrel product that, regular Buffalo Trace is great. I recommend it all the time for people just getting into whiskey. And obviously they are, Buffalo Trace is the Mickey Mouse of the Disney, if you will, of whiskey at this point. So I don't have to pump their tires up all that much, but they do great stuff. And these Buffalo Trace single barrels, especially these minis, are awesome. The next gang, if you will, are the Seven Guys. The Seven Guys are a collection of liquor stores that do things, do picks themselves, and they're all over the southwest suburbs. There's obviously 7 stores, and they've been doing picks for a long time. They've been doing picks before I even got into whiskey. They are a bigger, combining all those liquor stores. They're a bigger name in the southwest suburbs. But they have all kinds of picks available year round. And then the last guys the Adventures Club. So they are a whiskey club. They're not a store. They're not like you can't go run out and get them. But if you're a member of the club, they have picks available, and they do a couple a year, more than a couple nowadays. But obviously, these are just fans of whiskey like you and me and everyone else, and they really do some things that are out of the ordinary. Like this, before Redline was even available in the Chicagoland area, I was able to get my hands on this Redline hand-selected straight rye whiskey, toasted. You guys know how much I like toasted stuff. We're going to talk about my favorite toasted stuff in a little bit here, but the the Adventures Club, they do great stuff. So we were lucky enough to do store picks with Greene Valley Wine and Spirits, like we said. And I have a video already talking about our Knob Creek 9-year bourbon and our Knob Creek 8-year rye. So you guys can go and check those videos out. I'm really happy with those. Those were our first 2 picks. But I'm going to focus more on this NULU toasted wheated that we were able to do in conjunction with CD. Well, they were CD Wine and Spirits. Now they are Greene Valley Wine and Spirits. Look at that cool ass sticker. Shout out Johnny for that. The Bourbon Bums single barrel. I love it. Proud of it. Proud of the work all of the bums have done throughout this year, and we're real happy with the way this turned out. So this is a NULU, a toasted straight bourbon whiskey that's wheated. It's 112.4 proof. It's 5.5 years old. So when we were approached to do this pick, we were able to do. They gave us a couple options. So one of the options was a NULU double oaked. The other was an Amburana finished, which is wildly popular, especially in 2023. Amburana finished whiskeys are all the rage. And then another one of the options was a toasted wheated. And the reason that stood out to me was, one, my affinity for toasted products, but also you don't see many toasted wheated bourbons. And that was something like, oh, that's something a little out of the ordinary. So when we got these samples, it was I can't express to you guys how happy I was the way this turned out. The price point is a little high, and what I'm going to tell you is the way I'll sell it to you guys. And I'm not trying. This isn't a free ad, and realistically, I would have put this in my top whiskeys of the year, but I didn't want to because of the transparency and the fact that it's like our whiskey. Of course, you're going to pick it, but I'm so happy the way that turned out that this would be in my whiskeys of the year. The nose is straight vanilla bean, like a Starbucks vanilla bean. If you poured cherry Coke over it, so it's like waves of vanilla bean and then waves of cherry Coke, and even a little bit of a cordial cherry. But the way I describe this is so I showed you guys the Weller Foolproof pick. These are hard to come by. Any Weller product at this point is hard to come by. The NULU toasted wheated, I personally will put toe to toe with any Weller bottle you see behind me. Obviously, I'm not going to say the BTAC William LaRue Weller or anything like that, but Weller Foolproof, Weller 107, the 12-year. This you could find at a liquor store. Our friends, Greene Valley Wine and Spirits, and it goes toe to toe with any of them, if not better. It's so unique because it's at 112 proof. Drinks way lower than that. I think because of the wheated mash bill and because the fact that it's toasted, it brings this desserty aspect to it, but not overpowering. So it's cherry Coke is there. I get a really good cream savors or vanilla wafers from the wheat. It's like vanilla and cherry and fruit, and then right at the end is where you get the black pepper finish. And because of the toasted, I give this note all the time, but it's there. It's right here. It's the toasted marshmallow note. I don't get it much as a s'more in this scenario, but just the marshmallow aspect of it right at the end. So that is our NULU toasted wheated. So happy with the way it turned out. We brought it to 2 of the tailgates at the end of the year, gave it away to a bunch of people. Reviews were through the roof. Happy the way it turned out. We talked to, shout out Carmen DeFalco from ESPN Radio. He does his Whiskey Wednesday series and his Whiskey University series. We were able to get him a bottle. I talked to him about it a couple weeks ago. He mentioned how surprised he was, how it doesn't drink like a 5.5-year-old whiskey. So that's the thing, is like, well, a 5.5-year-old whiskey, I could find older things. Age isn't always the be all end all of whiskey. You could find a 2-4-year-old whiskey that drinks just as good as an 8, 10, 12-year-old whiskey. And you could find some 12-year-old whiskeys that taste just as bad as some 2-year-old whiskeys. I think age is a great barometer, and in most cases you do want to find the older age stuff. But once the juice in the barrel hits the sweet spot, it doesn't matter if it's 4 years. I've had some great 4-year whiskeys. I've had some great 5.5-year whiskeys. I've had some terrible 14, 15-year-old whiskeys. So age isn't the end all be all. But yeah, I'm happy the way this turned out. Thank you once again to Greene Valley Wine Spirits for letting us be a part of this process and everything else. We have one more pick in conjunction with Greene Valley Wine and Spirits coming up. I'm excited to announce that. I'll probably be announcing that within the next couple days, if not the next 2-3 days in this series. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the rest of the 12 days of whiskey. I'm going to be counting down my favorite whiskeys of the year. And tomorrow I'll have some special friends joining me for a whiskey roundtable. I got some, I like to call them influencers, whiskey influencers, but realistically, they're my friends. So stay tuned for that. That'll be tomorrow's show. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you then.